I've decided for the time being, because I want to ride this thing, dude. I'm gonna pull that motor off. Probably just leave it hanging because I don't know where to put it, or nor do I want to move it without something like that. I've got this. Had this last year Harbor Freight just sale where the engines were back down to $100. So bought a spare for the mini bike because that engine was getting pretty old, but I don't even have the mini bike. Beautiful. So clean. Haven't seen a clean one of these in 12 years or something. I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna get this thing pulled off of here. You got that thing on here. Old engine's out. Got the rest of the motor mounts cut out to make room for this bad boy. I need to get, we're gonna switch to a 420 chain. This is a 550 chain, I think. It's a little bigger than the 530 that I had for that go-kart. So I think it's a 550. And then I need to get clutch and chain because I gave all that away because I wasn't using any of it. Everything I had was 35 chain. I've got a 420 sprocket. It's pretty good size for these bigger wheels, so we can make a little more torque. And then after that, we'll start lining stuff up because I might have to cut this out for clearance for that. We're gonna take the governor out of this thing because I'm just gonna pick up that sprocket on my way when I go run some errands. So we're gonna start by taking the exhaust off. We're gonna not have a muffler, it's gonna get an exhaust. Take the carburetor off, take the fuel tank off, and then start pulling apart the engine. So first off, these two bolts, and then the carburetor slides off after you take the throttle stuff off. All that throttle stuff is gonna get reworked because we're going to a cable. And then fuel tank, this bolt right there, and then these two here, and then it'll all come off. Now that the fuel tank, exhaust, carburetor, and airbox are off, we've got a nice little engine looking like this. We pull this off. And then we need to start taking out the valves, everything, because we're fully removing the governor, not just bypassing it. You could run it like this, and it's bypassed, I believe. Yeah, it's just the weight that tries to push this back. You can hold it and it's already bypassed, but then you can get your governor in there. If you leave your governor in there, it might explode, and then there goes your motor. So we're gonna open this thing up and take it apart. Valve cover's off, so I need to take the push rods off. So to do that, I'm gonna press on the top, press that spring, and it drops out the bottom. Make sure your engine's at top dead center, otherwise it will not do that, and you'll have a hell of a time. And you want to make sure you don't lose these what are they called? Valve caps, valve lash caps, I think. Otherwise, so be very careful with that. Try to keep everything as clean as possible. Also, it really helps to take your plug out. Make sure you can shove a screwdriver in there, and when it stops coming up, you're top dead center, and you're good to go. So now we're going to take the 4 bolts and pull this head off. Head's off. You've got to take the heat shield off the bottom too. I'm not even going to put that back on. I don't think it really helps keep it cooler. I think it just keeps everywhere else hotter, but there's enough room in there, it doesn't matter. And I went ahead and took the throttle thing off for the governor. We're going to keep that because that's where I'm going to hook up my cable to have it attached to the carburetor, because there's not a lot of other places to clamp it. And it just works out better that way most of the time. So now we need to take this off, and we also need to take this side off. Okay, so we got this side up here, chisel shoved in there, and we got it in the vise because we're gonna need to put a good amount of force to get this nut off. On the inside, so we can take the flywheel off. Now, these things are really shoved on here, so we're gonna need something to wedge in here and then tap with a hammer to pry this off of here. So I'm gonna use that same chisel. Take, oh jeez, this rubber mallet and just tap it in there. Now you want to be careful because it's going to break the super weak spot. It's not really a big deal. I break them all the time, but if you don't want it to break, just be careful of that. So I'm going to take this out, spin the flywheel so that it's putting stress all over it instead of just in one spot, possibly bending that crankshaft. Flywheel's off, and we got the block opened up. Now the reason the flywheel needed to come off is because this is the pin where the governor is, and you have to pop it out through there, or you have to be able to hit it from this side to shove it through here. But now we need to take our cam shaft out. So we're going to go ahead and place it right here where that side holds it, and you need your push rod lifters or whatever out. Next is undoing your connecting rod. These bolts right there, that's what you need to undo. And then we're also going to take out our low oil sensor because that wrap. Why is this giving me a hard time turning over? It's dirty in there for some reason. Ugh. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull that crap out of there. Once you get your rod cap bolts out, you just spin this the crank to push the piston up, and as soon as it's at top dead center, it comes back, pulls the cap off, and it just drops. And then what you want to do, you can leave this in here so that you don't have to worry about getting the rings reset and everything, but you can literally just slide this right on out. Super simple. Put it to the side, and now you have access to your governor in here. So we're just going to remove that, and that's it. And then we're also going to remove the low oil sensor. That's just a couple bolts. But for this, first we need to drop this through here and then get it out of the way so that we can push this all the way out. Then we're going to cut the bottom of this off, and we're also going to cut the end of this because we're going to put this pin back in here so that there's not a hole. We're also going to need to use this for throttle. And then this is fine. You can just stuff a nail in there is what I've done. The crankcase doesn't make enough pressure to pop it out, so works great. I've never had any leaks. That's out of there. Super easy. All you do is take this pin off the top and then push it through there. Make sure you get the washer out. I think there should be 3 washers. When you're all said and done, you should have 3 washers left over. I think there's 2 in there. But yeah, to do that, we're gonna just take a small screwdriver and a hammer. Yeah, turn this around. And then just pop it out of there. Use the hammer on the small screwdriver. Make sure that your screwdriver will fit in there though. Now, with all this out of there, this pin needs to go right back in. But remember those washers. So there's one that comes off of that piece. There's another one on the back side of this white cap that goes in the middle of the governor. And then there's one behind the governor, still in there. See, that's why you have to remember there's 3, because they get stuck in there from the grease. The one on the back of that cap was the only one that came out on its own. So having a pick is really easy, or you can just shove your finger in there and do it that way, which is what I'm gonna do. But putting this pin back in, it's easier just to go from the back and push it all the way back through. And then you can push it all the way in. It's not gonna harm anything having it sticking out on that side. So, and that ring will come off while you're hammering it in there. So you don't need to worry about that either. Now that pin's back in there, so that hole's plugged. So we got one more. This guy, you're gonna wanna cut it off. Let's see. I can't remember. I don't think it really matters, actually. Yeah, since it's easier just to put it back up to the top anyways. So cut it off above this pinch point. And it's not like there's an extreme up and down force, it's side to side, so. And you also have a pin that's gonna hold it on top. So yeah, just cut it off right above that. And here it is after it's cut. Make sure you sand the end of it after you cut it. You want everything nice and smooth. And then it's just gonna pop right back in there and get it's easier to push back. Push it back and in here, which there, now it's in. It's loose in there, but it's not gonna. All this crap. Not this. You need this. This is a. But all this stuff is crap. Oh no. One got hammered into the bin. Oh well. Okay, with that all beautiful and perfect, crankshaft needs to go back in. Make sure the side threaded end goes to the back, because that's where the flywheel goes. And you're gonna want to make sure you don't put this in backwards. I don't even think it'll work. I don't know. You might be able to get it in there backwards. And lift up the end of your rod and twist it down. There. Now you can get your cap on there. Nice and easy. And you'll have your bolt will be right on top. After you tighten those bolts down, make sure it still rotates freely. Or close freely. But next is timing, which is super easy, because if you look right down here, hang on, right here, see a dot on that gear that goes in between the dots on this gear, just lines right up. So all you gotta do is put this in here with that matching, spin that a little bit. Oh wait, we almost forgot a very important step. These bad boys. Definitely gonna want these in here. There's one. And if they're falling out after you put them in there, all you gotta do is put some grease on them and they'll stay. And then we get this guy, which goes right in its hole back there. Just make sure it's lined up properly. And then, oh, we're one off. There, that should do it. Let's rotate this so that they actually line up. And bam, oh, we've got 2 lined up dots, so it's timed. Now you can put this guy back on. Now our flywheel needs to go on. So it's really simple. Just line it up, whack it a few times, and go out, and then Look at that. Beautiful. Make sure, spin it around. Make sure it's staying on one line and not, you know, going like this when you're turning it. And then next we're gonna put this and this on. Now that that's on, just make sure that you can, oh geez, come on. Make sure it pulls through. Beautiful. Now we need to get the head on. So to do that, the easiest way, because you have to line up these guys, is just throw these in last and then try and look down there with the flashlight. Now that those are in there, we're just gonna do what we did to get them out, but opposite. So compress it by pushing on the spring, and then lift up your thing and put it on the inside of the, where it clicks in, right on the back of the ball right there. Once those are back on there, pull it over, make sure it's all working good. Make sure, you know, make sure you got compression, plug the spark plug hole, feel it. So then the next step after this, you can go ahead and reinstall your spark plug and then put your valve cover on. Okay, here's kind of the order. You get the plastic thing, and then you get the gasket, and then you get the carb, then you get the air box gasket on here, and it fell off. But before we get this all settled down, we need to get our, oh, there's birds in here. What in the world? We need to get our thingamabobber on here. And then, so this is gonna connect to here, just like it would originally. Hang on. Oh, come on. I'm terrible. Just like this. This goes on here, gets tightened up, and then it's linked to here. So this is idle, and then full throttle. And then you're gonna use this plate back here, the original throttle. We're gonna take this lever off of it, and then use a cable, because it comes with a clamp right here, so that you can set it up. We're gonna turn this clamp sideways so our throttle cable can come through like this. This will sit up here like this, and it'll go to one of these holes. And then we'll put a return spring to the bottom of our fuel tank bolt, so it'll always go back to idle. Just like that, we got the bolt here, secured to it, and then we just took off the nut, which took off the lever and all those pieces. Now you can run your cable through this clamp and this clamp, or just this clamp, whatever, make it work. So now we're gonna put our box back on, and then our fuel tank, and then we're ready to go. We probably got to reconnect the kill switch, but whatever. Back on this thing, we gotta get this wheel off, get this axle up, and then get the pillow block off, and then we'll be able to slide, or to unbolt this sprocket and slide it off the end. So that's what is gonna happen here. So everything's off, but we have two very unfortunate issues. Number one, the lesser of the two. Yeah. So this is the one that was on there. This is the one I wanted to use. We're gonna need a new sprocket. Second of all, the very, very unfortunate one. When I was wrenching on this end to get the nut off, that thing was tight as frick, dude. But yeah, it was really tight, because that thing straight up just broke off. So not really sure what I'm gonna do about that. If I'm gonna just, I don't know, it's like, it's cast iron. If I had a nickel rod, I could weld that back together. 70-18 might do the trick, just to hold it enough. I mean, we're only putting a Predator 212 on it. And then the other bolt, of course. It'll probably be fine. But yeah. It's the next day and I got all the hardware, all the right hardware for everything. It's all mounted up, everything's good. And then I also got this sprocket on here. I cut the middle out of it and then welded on the sprocket that fit on here. And it didn't work too bad. So, should be fine. Now we just gotta get an engine mount in there and then get the wheels on. We have the motor mounted up and all this in. Everything's ready to go. And we just need a throttle cable to run to this pedal. Alright, we got our throttle cable here. And now we just need to run it. We have our throttle cable installed. So now we could do a kill switch, but where's the fun in that? I want to ride this thing, so I just need to finish mounting up the fuel tank, get the air box back on there, and then just put fuel in it. I already put oil in it, and we're good to go. So we got it out there and going, but the wheels are just too big, and so it's just the gear ratio is way off. So we need some smaller. I was trying to take them off the quad, but the splines for that hub versus this hub, that one has one less, and so it wouldn't fit on here. So then I was like, okay, the wheels might fit onto the different hub. And then the holes didn't line up all the way. They're off by like half an inch, if that. And so we just need to get new wheels. Other than that, it's pretty good. The steering's a little wonky, so I might need to fix a few things there. But yeah.